Welcome to the Booksplosion Seafire live show. This month we're working with Penguin, and we're going to be discussing, obviously, Seafire. Hopefully you've read it. If you haven't, though, we're going to spend the first couple minutes just talking about our general thoughts and what it's about. So we'll tell you when the spoilers are coming, but spoilers will come, like, fairly soon. But let's see. Jesse, kick us off with your thoughts.
All right.
Wait, I forgot to say hi. I'm Christine.
Hi, I'm Jesse.
And I'm Kat.
Explosion!
Oh, also, we're going to be taking your questions on Twitter using the hashtag #SeafireSplosion. I'm also going to keep my eye on the chat, but it goes by really fast, so keep patient with me.
It's been a while since I hosted the live show, and I forgot the spiel. I can't.
That's all right.
But yeah, we'll be taking your questions on Twitter, but also looking at the thing, just like Jesse said. Okay, kick us off with your thoughts now.
All right. I had a lot of fun reading this book. I thought it was a fun time. I liked how action-packed it was, like right off the bat. I feel like it was just like, yeehaw, let's go. I really liked the pirate vibes. That was a lot of fun to read about. I liked the direction of the plot because it was kind of unexpected to me. I was expecting something completely different, but I kind of liked the direction it went in, which I'm going to talk about that more later when we get into spoiler stuff. I do have a few complaints. One of my complaints is that I just wanted to see more sisterhood, because I guess like the book is like sold as like sisterhood is survival, and I just wanted to see more of that sisterhood throughout the book. And then, oh, what was my other complaint? I had another thing that I wanted to mention. I'll remember it later, though. So,
how did you?
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of what Jesse said. I just finished this book like a couple hours ago, so I'm still a little salty that one of my favorite characters died. We'll get to that later.
Spoilers.
That's not a spoiler. I don't think that's a spoiler. Like I liked that some characters died. Like yeah. I liked that it wasn't a totally safe world. You know, there's 50-something girls on this ship, and they've been sailing. It's like someone's got to go. Like if they're going in all these dangerous situations, like it would be unrealistic if we didn't have any deaths. But yeah, I was also pleasantly surprised by a couple things, because going into this book, I wasn't aware there was going to be like a sci-fi technology fantasy aspect to it, and I loved that. And I also thought that this book had like a really small crew. You know, the all-female crew reminded me a little of Zenith, and I know that has like just a handful of characters. So I was expecting this to be like a small ship with like 6 girls. And there was like 50-something girls, and it was this whole ship, and it was like this town almost like floating on the water. And I liked that aspect too. Like I liked the ship and just spending so much time on it and the atmosphere of that. And yeah, it was just a super fun adventure, lots of action, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was like super action-packed. I just recorded my story, so I'm like gonna feel like I'm gonna repeat my whole spiel here. But I feel like when they said it was like Mad Max, like it is like Mad Max in the sense where it's just like one thing after the next, the next, the next, the next. But yeah, it's action-packed. I really like the technology too. I thought that was all that stuff like the aqualung and like the sails that like they run on solar power. I mean, it was so cool. And I agree with Jesse about the sisterhood of survival thing. I feel like it was lacking in the sisterhood thing, but I also did not see where the plot was going too. I did not see the whole like brother thing coming, and I liked that a lot. And I didn't realize also that it was, is it in a duology?
It's a trilogy.
It's a trilogy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, when we got to the end, I was like, what?
That's not the end.
And I also, the one thing that it was lacking for me was more of the romance. I was waiting for this to happen, and I knew it was going to, and then we got like 5 minutes of it, and I was like, excuse me.
See, I would have been okay with less romance.
Can we get into spoilery stuff now? Because I want to talk about this too. I have thoughts about this.
Okay. Well, in conclusion, if you don't know, Seafire is about a ship full of badass young women who are trying to avenge the deaths of their family, who were killed by this warlord who really reigns over this entire area that they live in. And all his followers are addicted to this drug, so they're very attached to him because he provides them with this drug, and it's very hard to break through that. And
they're indoctrinated into his like empire basically, and they're so dependent on him. Like they go through horrible withdrawals if they don't get this drug every day.
Yeah. So we're gonna go into spoilers because we want to talk about it, and it's hard to without spoiling you. So if you haven't read it yet, definitely hit this up if any of that sounded good to you, and then you can come back and watch this later. Bye, not spoilery, folks. Hey, what were you gonna say that's spoilery about the romance?
I know that there was like hinting at a lesbian relationship, but I feel like that should have been like at the forefront.
Okay, yeah.
Which one are you talking about? Because there were two relationships I feel like going.
Okay, I only caught on one, and it was so vague, and I was kind of upset because I like a bunch of people on Goodreads were like, it has a female romance, and I was like,
the lovely woman.
I didn't tell who the romance was supposed to be between. I think it was Amina and Hime.
And Ame, yeah.
Yeah, it was them, right?
Yeah.
And it's so subtle.
But I feel like there was also something subtle going on with Red, and oh my god, who else?
I know, I can't remember.
I feel like there was another person. I feel like Red was in a relationship with somebody.
I don't know. I just like wanted it to be more upfront though, because it was just like Kat said, it was just so vague, and like it literally makes sense that there would be that on this ship because that's all they like. They only have women to interact with on a daily basis, so it's just like I don't know. I wanted more representation of that, like up front.
But I feel like in general, there was just like we didn't concentrate on any love connections at all.
Yeah, I mean, this story was definitely not focused on the romance at all.
It wasn't. Honestly, it wasn't focused on character connections so much as family. I feel like it was.
Yeah, and that's really what surprised me about the plot. Like, I guess I didn't really read the description that well because it might have mentioned it in the description of it like being focused.
Sisterhood is survival, but like it felt more like family and blood.
Yeah, like it was focused on getting the brothers back when I thought it was going to be more focused on like the takedown of Arik. Like it wasn't at all really. Like it kind of was, like they were still fighting the bullets and stuff, but like
the beginning. So it was like they're setting up, but their focus right now is to get their brothers.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like this is also just the first book in a trilogy. So like we have so many different things to do over the arc of the story. Like obviously we have Lear, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Like he's obviously a villain, and like maybe Donnelly at this point, like we don't know. And then Arik also, like we have so many.
Oh, we do know Donnelly just saved her. I think didn't Donnelly save her at the end?
No, she like heard his voice. But I don't know. The ending was.
He did. He saved her. He was telling her to wake up. Like that was him. That was his line because she said that he specifically.
I thought that was in her head.
I think she thinks that it's in her head, but she's gonna open her eyes.
Yeah. See, that scene is like so unclear at the end because it's like she's.
Can I just tell you what I thought was gonna happen at the end?
Yeah.
So she's in this room and she's like, "I'm gonna kill Lear. Lear's in this room," and I thought that was gonna be her brother's room because like Witch and her brother is the captain of the ship now, and she was gonna like go to kill him, and then it was gonna be Donnelly, and then but I think her brother was on that ship. And when she was dying, he went and saved her because he realized it was her because she was kind of, you can't really not know it's her. It's not like she looks so different because she has like her red hair and she was already a teenager. Like,
I don't know. I don't know.
It's him. It's gonna start off with her like opening her eyes and it's gonna be like, what the fuck?
They said Donnelly had been on the Electra ship, the big electric one that like gets the conscripts. He'd been on that one, and then they said he hadn't been there for a month.
Yeah.
But Donnelly, like Oren also revealed that Donnelly was a 5 son, and I don't think it makes sense. We don't know a lot about the 5 sons, but I don't think it makes sense for 2 of them to be on one ship. Like it seems like they're kind of like the 5 like mini generals under Arik. I feel like it was in her head. I feel like she was just doing it to like.
Oh,
what if it's Arik?
No, it's not Arik. Or maybe,
why not? Why can't it be Arik?
Maybe Donnelly heard or is like trying to get out of this. Maybe he heard that Caledonia is alive, and because when they put the money on her head, when they were like, when they put the ship on their head, he heard about it and then tried to escape to like find her. And
I don't know. I think it's going to be much harder to sway Donnelly back onto the side of good. Like,
I think, yeah, maybe he's going to be
addicted to this drug now.
I think he's going to be dealing with an addict, so he's going to be lying to her, and it's going to be tough.
I don't think that was him at the end.
I think it was, because why would they have him saying that over and over again? It
was in her head. She was about to lose consciousness and die, and then she was like...
know, but like that was a specific line that they foreshadowed earlier on in the book.
Okay, it is in quotes. I don't know. We need the fucking book.
It's him. You know what disappointed me at the end? What I don't understand. Why Pisces the whole time she's like stressing that like we won't go without you. We won't go without you. And then she lets her go to like on a weird like revenge rage alone to
but at the same time, Caledonia is so stubborn that she like
But if I was Pisces, I would like, fine, go, but then like followed her. Like, and that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
The girls didn't show up.
I was a little surprised that Caledonia did that at the end and that the girls all let her, because like even she was like on the verge of like making a bad decision before, like the girls all like kind of rallied around. Like when she wasn't going to go after their brothers, like all the girls were like, no, like they're our brothers too. Like we're going after them. So now the fact that Caledonia is like, I'm just going to go on like, and like try to him out with me. And they're just like, cool, later.
Because your brother wasn't on that ship doesn't mean you're going to, like, why would you stop hunting him down and just go risk your life to kill Lear?
It's like an unnecessary risk.
Yeah, the whole thing with Lear too, I feel like she's blaming this all on Lear because she wants someone to blame it on, but like the ship was already out there. It was already attacking her ship. Like Lear didn't cause the ship to attack their ship.
Like she obviously just has like so much guilt with her still. Like even when she told Pisces, like she confessed like the secret, like it was I didn't kill him, and she's like, I'm not surprised. Like, okay.
Yeah. I was just like, when she's making such a big deal about like, once I tell her, she's gonna turn on me forever. And I was like, she so isn't. Like, stop.
I understood her apprehension. Like, we didn't know Pisces as well in the beginning, so like I could understand the apprehension of like Pisces could have had a bad reaction and been like, it's your fault. But like by the end, when Pisces was like, I know, like I get, like, you came back with like a stomach wound that you never wanted to talk to anyone about how you got it. Like,
I almost wanted her to have a reaction though, because there was such a build up to that. I was like, can you at least just like give us a little something, some kind of reaction?
I feel like you really get this turn about, you really learn more about Pisces once she starts defending. What is his name? Orin.
Orin. Yeah.
Once her and Orin, she starts defending Orin, and she kind of butts heads with Caledonia. But as soon as like they're not talking about that anymore, she's back on her side. Like she's just like, "What do you need me to do?" It's not something that she's holding as a grudge all the time. Like, why are you being like this? So you understand that her relationship, like, that's not going to break them, and like. And so obviously when she tells her that when she was like 14 years old, she like met a bullet in the forest, it's not her fault that their families died. Like, gosh. So anyway, just to remind anyone who's just coming in or didn't hear, we're taking questions from y'all on Twitter using the hashtag #SeafireExplosion, and we are also looking at the chat. If you want to put hashtag #SeafireExplosion next to your question in the chat, just so it stands out as a question, that could help. And yeah, let's see. Do we have anything?
We have some questions from Sierra.
Cool.
She asks, who was your favorite character in the book?
Here's what, definitely spoilery, because I'm going to talk about how she died again.
Is it Lace?
I liked place in the beginning, but I also knew as soon there was one specific sentence that was like, she was so bright and she like brought so much joy to the ship, and I was like, oh, she's dead. But no, Red Tooth. I was really sad that Red Tooth died. I liked her. Yeah. She was so fun and feisty, and I liked the little like back and forth she had with Oren, where she like told him that none of the harnesses would fit him because they're for girls.
That was like. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was gonna move on to something else.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say my favorite character is it Hime? Is that how you say her name?
Hime, yeah.
Hime. I really liked her because I feel like she had a really interesting backstory.
Yeah.
It was cool, like learning more about her character. I want more from her in the next book as well.
I really liked Hime as well, and I really felt for her when she kept wanting to fight, and she kept being like, "No, stay down there." I was like, "Come on!" Like she was just like, she kept doing that, and I was like, "You're gonna make her not want to be here," just like Pisces was saying. But Hime also, I didn't get that. I think she's deaf, right? Yeah. And I didn't.
No, not deaf. She's mute.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't until like halfway through the book that I feel like they talked about that. But there were like little just hints about the way that she kind of was explaining their communication, but you didn't really like exclusively hear that she was using sign language until really further on in the book, which was really interesting because like I just didn't pick up on it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I really liked. There's so many little things that we like touch on, but we didn't go super deep on. So I still have so many questions. Like
such a big cast.
When they found Hime's ship, and like she was a scythe, so she was like tending the flowers that they make the drugs out of, and like two other girls were like super sick, and like she was the only one who like lived. Like what was going on there? What were they sick with? What is the pale fever that keeps getting like vague mentions? Yeah. Like. I
mean, like it sounds like it's like the big plague that like around that whatever time period they're in.
It's like in the future, right? Yeah.
And it was really interesting. Like we kind of touched on silt and how like it's like a combination of a plant that they tried to eliminate and another plant that they orchestrated to live through.
And they like got back together.
Yeah, they were pollinating. Yeah, they pollinated each other. It was just like, whoa, interesting. It's kind of like Hunger Games with the Mockingjay. Except much more detrimental to the health of general society.
We have a question in the chat from Magical Book Geek Grace. Thanks for your question. They ask, do you think Pisces was jealous when she caught Oren and Caledonia kissing? I do. I ship Oren and Caledonia together, says Magical Book Geek Grace. Do you think she was jealous? I don't think that they have that kind of relationship. Yeah. Even though I did feel like there could potentially be some chemistry between them, I didn't see it as much. I don't know.
Yeah. At first, I thought maybe she would be, but when she reacted like that, I was like, no, she's not. They have a relationship. I think maybe Pisces has a relationship with someone else on the ship. Like, there was so much mysteriousness with who was with who.
Yeah. Like, everything was too vague.
Yeah.
I really thought, like, I had heard a little bit about the book before reading it, so like I knew that the main character had a romance, and then there's only like one guy in the book, so it's like, oh, I wonder who her romance is with. But yeah, I really thought that it was going to be Pisces and Oren like formed a relationship. That's what I think I would have liked more if Caledonia didn't have any romance and like it was like a side relationship between Pisces and Oren. Like I would have been okay with that because I felt like. Oh. I feel like Caledonia like warmed up to him too fast. Like at the in book one, like I think at the end of book one, if they had just been on like friendly terms, that would have been really easy to buy. But them kissing was a little bit like, you still hate him and don't really trust him. Like, are you?
I think the first kiss when he kissed her was like what it worked, and then when she like took a kiss, I think she should have waited on that kiss the second, which is like, I'll take a kiss if I want to kiss. Like, I think that should have like maybe had some more build up.
Yeah, I liked that line. But yeah, I think that could have been like in book two when they are inevitably reunited.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still kind of suspicious of Oren, but he's there. He's helping.
Yeah, I'm not as I want to know more about him. Like, what is the story? Like, if you get the like marks on your arms for like things that you do, and like he had 2 old ones and 1 fresh one, like what are those marks for? Like, let's hear the stories. I was so interested in everyone's backstory. Like, I loved learning all the girls, how like they came around to joining the crew. I would have loved hearing about Oren's life and like more of that. I'm sure we'll get it more in the series overall.
Right.
I have so many. I'm so curious about so much stuff still.
There's so many just snippets that we got, and I was like, wait, can we just hold on that for a second? What? Like, because Oren, we learned that like they told him to kill his father, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but they killed him anyways. Still.
Yeah, they killed him anyway. And I mean, like, that's enough to turn anyone away from wherever they are. I feel like I'm just suspicious of him knowing more than he's letting on still. You know, like, I feel like he knows more about these boys, like the brothers' backstories, but he's not sharing unless it's, like, necessary. Yeah. Like, just tell us everything you know. Like,
especially once she got to the point where she trusted him. Because like, he tried to tell her stuff before, and she's like, every time you volunteer information, I trust you less. Yeah. Like, okay, I'll wait. But like now she trusts him, so tell her everything.
So yeah. I saw a question like, yeah, who do you dreamcast for the main characters? Did you guys picture anybody?
Oh.
Not while reading it, but
I don't cast characters usually unless like something really comes to mind.
I always just like make them up in my mind, so they're like people, but and I'm like picturing older people, like people at least in their 20s, but these girls are like 18, 19.
I guess so. I mean, like I thought they were older in the beginning because like we have that little intro section, and then it's like 4 years later, and so I assumed they were like 16 in the beginning section, and then 4 years later they're like 20. But it's more like they were like 14 in the beginning.
14, so they're like 18, 19.
But I just remember she was like, my brother's only 12, he can't come. And it's like, you're like 13, 14.
But like 12 and 14, you're like middle school, high school, so.
Yeah.
It's there.
People don't exist in this world.
They always talk about the old world, and I was like, are we the old world?
I think we're the old world. Yeah, I'm really intrigued by all the world building, even though it was just little snippets. Like I feel like this world is really deep, and that the author like knows and like has done a lot of work on the world, but we don't see a lot in here. Like it's a lot of surface stuff.
I just remember my favorite character. I never said her, but it's Nettle. I really like Nettle.
Oh, Nettle was fun.
Yeah, and I was like, when she like saved the ship when they weren't like turning fast enough, and she yelled at her, I was like, excuse me. Like, you weren't doing a good job, and she saved your ass. Can you sit down and hire her for this job?
Caledonia like aggravated me a lot in this book.
I really liked those kind of power dynamics.
Yeah.
Understand both sides. Like Caledonia is like, I need you guys to listen to me. Like I can't leave if you're not actually listening to me. And everyone else is like, I mean, we're listening to you in general, just specifically we're doing what's better for you, even if you don't ask it. And like, I understand both sides and the frustration that like boils out of that.
Yeah. You know who I
like those aspects, yeah.
You know who I can see as Caledonia? Betty from Riverdale with red hair.
I kind of picture Caledonia as just like Selena Sardothian with red hair.
Oh, no, Selena's too badass, I feel like. I feel like Selena works alone. Like she can't do this.
I like Betty from Riverdale with red hair.
Yeah, because I think, especially like season 2 Betty, she's really like taken a more aggressive role, and I could see her doing this. Pisces, I keep picturing like Michonne as Pisces, which she's way too old to be Pisces.
I'm picturing who's the girl in the 100. Indra's daughter.
Yeah, she could do it.
Would be a good Pisces.
Gaia. Her name's Gaia.
Gaia, yeah. I think the actress who plays her would be a good Pisces.
Yeah, she's gorgeous, that girl. I'm trying to think who would be anyone else, but I just imagined them as like like my own people. So
yeah.
I feel like
how old was Nettle?
Nettle's like 13 or something, I feel like.
Okay, I pictured her as like a little girl for some reason.
Too. She has,
That's probably the name. Like the name is just like a little girl name to me.
Yeah, she has like bows in her hair too. I feel like colorful bows, and that really like made her feel young.
Yeah. Also, the first time we met her, Caledonia was like, "You're a kid," and she's like, "I'm only like 4 years younger than you." Like, okay.
Yeah, that's a lot when you're like in your teens.
Yeah.
But what was I just gonna say? Nettle, I want to know what happened to her too, because she's like been working on a ship, and she's like, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm like, what?
I want to know where this 13-year-old learned to do like that.
Yeah, she's like very experienced for her age.
Yeah. And also, she'd been in that port town, Cloudburst or something, because she like knew it pretty well. Yeah. So like, where was she previously, and for how long? Like, what's her story?
Yeah, she's probably orphaned, and her parents were there at port when everything happened to her, and then she gets
maybe she like grew up on a ship or something, and
it sounds like a lot of people did. It sounds like we're in like sort of a water world-esque world where like land. Yeah,
I wish that this book had a map. Like, I kept wanting to turn to a map. So
I thought there definitely would be a map. I listened to the audiobook, so like
I like halfway through we get to like this real description of like maps, and I was like, was there a map? And
they give us maps.
Not a map. And I was like, a map would have been so like show where like the bone mouth is, and like I would loved a map. Maybe there's one online. Like maybe there's like one of like an extra content not in the book. Yeah. I don't know. I really would have loved a map.
I really liked the queen of the lowlands, or like the swampland, the grasslands, the drowning lands.
Drowning lands.
Drowning lands.
Yeah, she was really cool. And I did not see that coming with Hime. I was just like, wait, what?
I like all the reunions like made me almost cry, like made me tear up. Like Hime with her mother, and then Pisces and Aries like had their little reunion.
Yeah, I really like that moment. What was? Let's see. What was your favorite part of the world? Yeah, Emily says I like the technology. I really did too. There was a lot. There was so much. I really liked like the way she wrote the action scenes with the ships. I think they were really vivid.
Yeah, definitely.
And just like well done. Like I could see everything really well.
Yeah, she used language that was very accessible for people who aren't familiar with ships. But that was like good shippy language. So like I loved the atmosphere of like being on sea and being on a ship, and I feel like I understand how ships work now, even though I really don't. I'm like, I could run a ship. I could do that.
I'm like, I could never do this. 53 girls, that's so many. I feel like a lot of people around when there's 10 people. Like, just like, oh, and like when I was imagining like the Nettle had to like do the bathroom duty, like,
yeah.
Like, how's everyone not diseased on a ship? Yeah. Let's see. What do you think's gonna happen in book 2?
Ooh.
I think they're gonna be struggling with the brothers.
Yeah.
Just to bring them back to themselves, they're gonna have a lot of, I feel like, a harder time than Oren.
I think the main arc of the next book is going to be getting Donnelly and like kind of converting him back to our side. And then in the final book, we'll probably go after like Arik and Lear once we like get our team back together. But I mean, like this book, even though it's told in third person, we follow Caledonia only. Like we don't really see from other perspectives. So are we gonna start the next book like with Caledonia just by her own, like if she was by herself?
Or maybe we'll start with Donnelly. Like that would be really interesting to me.
Ooh, that would be if we like cycle in a new point of view. Yeah, that would be cool.
And then we see him intersect with her. Or even start like before, like the timeline, like a month ago when he maybe found out and then started hunting.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Also, I wouldn't mind having some Pisces chapters too to like see her perspective and to like get more in her head.
Yeah.
because she is like the grounded, like loving force opposed to Caledonia. So yeah, I'd love to see more insight from her. I really liked her as a character, though.
Yeah, no, I liked how strong their friendship was, and how you
their relationship a lot.
Yeah, and I really liked the discussion also about when they were deciding, they needed to decide on a captain. Like, they couldn't both be captain because one of them has to follow the other just so everyone else will. Like, one of them has to be the person that convinces everyone else that she's worth following, which was really cool and interesting to hear about.
Yeah, all those dynamics, like the power dynamics, and how like people would challenge Caledonia, but not in like an undermining way. Like, they would challenge her, but in a very loyal way still. Like, you're our leader, but hey, we're just like checking you a little bit. But I thought it was a really healthy power dynamic.
Yeah. It's like they weren't like blindly just following her. Like, when they had an issue, like they weren't afraid to bring it up and be like, can we do this instead, kind of thing. So,
yeah. And even we have this part where she has to like, tell Tin, I think, who she had on the helm after Lace.
Yeah, Nettle was replacing her.
Yeah, Nettle was going to replace her, and Tin was like upset, but like she did it anyway. She like gritted her teeth and went for it because she's like, Caledonia's the captain. Yeah. And she thought now Pisces has to captain the ship, like, which is also really interesting because she's used to kind of working behind the scenes as like co-captain, but not actually having to execute like the hard.
Yeah, I really hope now. I'm really hoping we get more Pisces chapters like in the next book. If she's separate from Caledonia and the crew, because I really want to see how she's handling like managing the crew now, and how they're handling listening to her instead of Caledonia, because like they all joined under Caledonia. Like, does that loyalty automatically transfer over? I feel like a lot of it will, because like they were
so well.
I do want to see how that plays out.
Yeah, the dynamics there. And maybe she doesn't like being in that position.
I'm sure she doesn't. Yeah, she did.
It was stressful.
Yeah. Oh my God. Right in the beginning, like as soon as she got like hooked on
she got captured, yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, that wound's gonna fester. And I was just like, this is gonna cause so many problems right off the bat, or like our co-captain's like dying.
That's what I thought in the beginning, because I didn't realize there was going to be a big time jump. So I was like, she just got stabbed in the stomach. How is she getting revenge against anyone?
Yeah, she was way too young in the beginning to do the revenge thing. She needed to build herself up.
Heal a little bit from the gut wound.
Let's see. Someone said, what book are you talking about? The title is Seafire Live Show. We're talking about Seafire. And just a reminder, we're taking questions in the chat. If you just put the hashtag Seafire next to it so it pops out. And we're taking questions on Twitter using the hashtag Seafire.
Yes.
Do you guys think they'll be able to take down Eric, or do you think the ending will be them punching the net and escaping? Wait, what is the net again? Why does that sound so familiar?
The net is like a border that Arik has kind of set up to like contain his empire in one area. And like there's rumors about like what's beyond the net, freedom maybe, but like no one has ever broken through the net before that they like really know of. So
I think they have to take him down.
Yeah, I think we have to take him down, and that taking him down will take the net down and
up. Yeah. I feel like it was also, they had a really good conversation with the Drowning Lands Queen, where she was like, yeah, we have only been able to go along with him. Like, we don't have the power or the supplies to like go against him and rebel. So we might as well help these girls.
Yeah.
Do what we can't do. But if these girls start successfully rebelling, other people will maybe have the courage to stand up to him as well.
Well, I totally think that is going to be like exactly what happens, because we saw in the book how like no one really wanted to help him. They were just like helping him because he was afraid. Like even the merchant at the like, he was like, I'm more afraid of him than you, so I'm turning you over. And then she like talked her way out of it, and he was like trying to help her, and like, you know, good luck, lady. Yeah, I think we have to take him down. The thing is, like, he takes everyone's children, and he has all their children.
Yeah.
They are totally dedicated to him, and that's where he gets his power.
Yeah. And they let him take the children.
Yeah. But now Caledonia's fighting back, and like, word's gonna get out that it's an all-female ship, like all teenage girls mode for the most part, and like
a bunch of orphans are taking him down.
Like, how many bullets do you think he has?
Endless amounts.
I know.
He's got to have hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if on each ship they have a crew of like 50 to 100, like
at least 1,000 of them.
What? Wait, he must have hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Because he has a fleet of ships. Like, he has so many ships. Like,
honestly, it sounds like they have to destroy destroy all Baleflowers.
Yeah. But again, like the guy was saying at the end, only one needs to survive. And
yeah, but if you destroy the Baleflowers, you destroy the power that he holds over them.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, that was their whole tactic in the beginning, was like destroying all the.
But that's not like their main tactic. Like, they see one, they're like, we should destroy.
Yeah, they're like, we can do this. Yeah.
You need to like set fire to the Baleflowers. Destroy them. Because I like the fact that he has like scythes who are like growing it, and they have to test every single batch. Like, he makes it so everyone is so hooked.
Yeah. That is the way to hurt him, though, is to take it away from him.
Yeah, definitely.
He doesn't have them hooked. They don't need him for any reason. They turn on him, and
yeah. Yep. Who do you predict will die in the next book?
Ooh. I don't want anyone to die.
That's what surprised me so much about this first book, was like how many of the characters died.
Honestly, when Lace died, I was like, wow, okay. we're doing this. Wasn't expecting that.
I feel like most authors just play it safe, though, and like don't kill off anybody, so that was like kind of unexpected.
Yeah, I liked it. It was like refreshing. Like, I thought he was dead too, because like after Lace had already died, now then like Pisces got hooked and Caledonia was about to leave, and I was like, holy crap! Like this book is ruthless.
I was like, okay, people are gonna die.
It's happening.
And I just really didn't think that the brothers would have gotten off that ship alive, but I guess, you know, now that we know that they're always taking the young kids, they just take them in there. Also, why don't they take young girls? What's that about?
Some young girls to be the scythes, to like tend to the
but like, why can't the girls be bullets?
Maybe the author's like trying to use it as like a theme for something. Like, is it like a thing showing like our society and how it works, kind of, maybe?
Yeah.
How, like, they like to pit, I don't know, the two sexes against each other.
I don't know. I think that is something she's going for, because when Caledonia goes to the Drowning Lands and she sees like women and men working together, she's like, oh, I trust them because there's women there.
Yeah.
I mean, but her ship, like her original ship that she was living on, had women and men working.
Yeah. I think it's more like she had gotten so used to like her all-female crew, and like she only trusted girls, really. Like, even the, you know, Hime was originally a bullet, a scythe. She was originally one of Aric's, and like they brought her into the fold, but like Orin was the bullet, like for so for so long.
But like Pisces said, she has this whole speech about how, like, if we're gonna succeed in this, like, we need to be able to believe that these boys can be good, and like not just kill them on sight. Because you can't kill them all, and they're all just teenagers and stuff. So, it's a bad situation.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? I'm gonna take a couple more, and then we can talk about what we're next month we're reading.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys have a least favorite character?
Can't really think of, nothing comes to mind. There were no characters that like I didn't like
Eric.
like we didn't even see him, like even Lear, who was like obviously a villain, like I didn't hate him as a character because he was interesting.
Yeah.
You want him to ultimately die.
Here's a question. Do you think that the Queen of Hamaze, like the Drowning Lands, and the Sly King will come to their aid at the end of the trilogy? I definitely think they will.
Yeah, I think everyone will come to the aid.
Yeah. I think we're planting these people of power so that we know they exist so that they can come help us.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I can't wait for everyone to rally against the evil.
Okay.
Do we want to talk a little bit about our next Booksplosion books of the month?
Like, to make sure we didn't miss anything. But I think, let's talk about it next month.
All right.
Jesse, what is it?
All right. For the month of October, we are going to be reading Grim Lovelies by Megan Shepherd. Hey, look at this beautiful book cover. So pretty. So this book is about these creatures called beasties, and they're basically these animals that have been turned into humans. We follow a girl who has become a beastie, and her owner dies. She gets murdered or something, and because of that, she only has like 3 days to find like a new owner of some sort to like keep living on as a beastie. So that's kind of what the story's all about. Super interesting. Super excited to read it.
It's
so yeah.
In modern day Paris, so it's like urban fantasy in Paris. I'm excited about that.
I am too. Yeah. I haven't read I don't think I've read a book that takes place in Paris that's like fantasy.
Mm.
Yeah.
So this live show will be on my channel next month as well. So pick up this book and join us.
Yeah, and then November. Do you guys have the November book with you?
I do.
I have it upstairs.
Ready?
Yes, he's got it.
Box.
Box by Julie Kedela.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one has a complicated description.
The basic gist of it is every 1,000 years or so, if you collect the pieces of the scroll and put it together, you can summon a dragon who will grant you a wish. And the last wish sent the country into like an age of darkness and like bad stuff happening. So now it's been 1,000 years and the scroll can be put together to summon a new dragon. Or the same dragon again. I'm not sure about that point. Yeah. But yeah, so it's basically everyone is trying to get the pieces together of the scroll so that they can be the ones who can make the wish. And we are following a teenage girl who is half mortal, half kitsune, which is like a fox spirit.
Yeah, there's a kitsune in Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
And she has a piece of the scroll, and her adopted family has just been killed, I think, by someone like searching for the scroll. Yeah. So she kind of like has this piece of the scroll and she's on the run and everyone is trying to assemble the scroll and she's dragged into the madness.
You did a good job explaining that. Good job, Kim.
Really. And then in December, this book is way far from being out yet, but we're reading Skyward by Brandon Sanderson.
Woo!
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys pick some of those up and join us.
Yes.
And we'll be doing live shows, obviously, at the end of every month. And it shouts to be all the fun. And then our December live show is always like super fun because we do like the awards of.
Yeah, like the best of the year. We reflect on all the books we read all year.
Yeah, which is
that's a really fun one. Also, we're going to be at Y'all Fest.
Yes.
Fun. Right? Next month, this month.
It's November 9th and 10th.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're going to have Booksplosion panel meetup on Saturday. And I'm going to have ARCs there, which is it's going to be really fun. So this has been our Seafire Booksplosion live show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yay.
See you hopefully next month. I'm Christine.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Kat.
Booksplosion. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.